Hey everyone, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something, pretty relevant, especially if you've ever had that that annoying itch you just can't get rid of.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to unpack some fascinating new research about,
Mm.
well, it's about a potential new treatment for itchy skin, and especially for people with chronic kidney disease.
Okay.
And get this, the secret ingredient is cannabis.
Yeah, that's right. Itchy skin or, the medical term is pruritus, but it's a really common problem for people with chronic kidney disease.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of the current treatments, they aren't very effective,
Yeah.
and they can really, have a big impact on someone's quality of life.
Oh, absolutely.
So this new research is really looking into some, hopefully some promising alternatives.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into the study, okay? So the researchers wanted to see if a cream, and this cream contained compounds found in cannabis, could actually reduce the itchiness. And so they got 60 patients that were undergoing hemodialysis, and all of them had reported pretty severe itching.
Mm-hmm.
So to make sure that they were isolating the effects of the cream,
Mm.
they used that classic, the controlled study.
Right, exactly.
Half the people got the cannabis cream,
Mm.
and then the other half got the placebo, which is just that neutral cream without, the actual ingredients.
Yeah, it's like a standard in research, You got to have that comparison point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did it actually work? Did this cannabis cream do anything?
Well, and this is where it gets really interesting. So after only 4 weeks, the people that were using the cannabis cream, they saw like a significant reduction in their itching.
Wow.
And what's really cool is they used like standardized questionnaires.
Okay.
So it wasn't just people saying, "Oh, I feel better."
Right.
They actually measured it, the severity, the impact on their daily lives. So it's pretty convincing.
Wow. So that's huge. So it's not even just about scratching less,
Right.
but it's actually improving their total well-being, right?
That's exactly it. And that's actually one of the things that makes this research so promising. It's not just a surface level thing. Now, of course, it's important to remember this was a relatively small study.
Okay.
And it was a pretty, relatively short follow-up. But still, it's very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's always good to be a little cautious, whenever you're looking at just one study.
Right.
But still, it's really interesting stuff. What about the people who are maybe thinking, hold on, isn't cannabis supposed to be,
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's definitely still a stigma, right, around cannabis.
Right.
But it's important to remember that this cream wasn't about getting high.
Right.
It had these specific compounds. They're called cannabinoids, and they're found in the plant.
Okay.
And they've actually been shown to have, real therapeutic potential.
Okay, so let's talk about those cannabinoids for a sec then.
Yeah, sure.
How do they actually make the itching go away?
Okay, so get this. Our bodies, right, they have this whole system called the endocannabinoid system.
Oh.
And it's involved in a ton of functions, pain, inflammation,
Okay.
and yep, you guessed it, itch.
So,
Think of it like a conductor in an orchestra, right? Making sure everything's working together.
I like that analogy.
Right.
So then where do the cannabinoids, how do they fit into the orchestra?
Okay, so they interact with the system, kind of like fine-tuning the instruments.
Oh, okay.
So in the case of itch, you've got certain cannabinoids, they can actually reduce that inflammation we talked about.
Mm.
And they even mess with those signals going from your skin to your brain that are telling you, hey, it's itchy.
Oh, wow.
So they're like the sound engineers, right? Turning down the volume on the itch channel.
So it's not just covering it up, it's actually going to the root of the problem, which is really interesting.
Exactly. And it just goes to show our bodies are super complex. And we still have so much to learn about plants like cannabis and how they can be used in medicine.
For sure, for sure. But let's go back to this study specifically.
No.
Now,
Okay.
they looked at chronic kidney disease, right?
Great.
So do you think this could be helpful for other kinds of chronic itch too?
That is a great question, and it's definitely something researchers want to figure out.
Yeah.
So this study, it was just focused on those kidney disease patients, right? But the thing is, how itch works, the mechanisms behind it, they're often really similar across the board, different conditions.
Oh, okay.
So there's a good chance this kind of treatment could help way more people.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Now, for those listening who are maybe a little skeptical, are there any downsides to this study we should keep in mind?
Of course, of course. Like we said, it was a small study.
Yeah.
Short follow-up. So we need more research, bigger trials,
Right.
longer follow-up, to really confirm everything and understand those long-term effects,
Right.
what happens down the road.
Yeah, that makes sense. And those bigger studies could tell us, like, the right amount to use,
Exactly.
how often, all of that, and any side effects.
Absolutely. All important stuff. Plus, the study, they didn't actually measure the cannabinoids in the blood.
Oh, okay.
So we don't know how much actually got absorbed past the skin, and that'll be really important for future research.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Mm.
So to be totally clear, like, we are not saying everyone should run out and try cannabis cream for any itch,
Yeah,
right?
well, this is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a pretty interesting piece, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. Like, this research, it opens up a whole new way of thinking about treating itch, which is super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes us rethink cannabis. What could it really do for medicine?
Totally.
Yeah.
It really does make you think, like, what else is out there, So we've talked about the research, the potential of all this.
Right.
But I think we got to talk about, like, the elephant in the room here, which is,
Yeah.
there's still this stigma with cannabis.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Cannabis has, like, a really complicated history.
Yeah.
And, there are some real concerns about, like, the recreational side of it
Yep.
and, people using it in ways that maybe they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But this research and, like, a bunch of other studies that are coming out,
Mm-hmm.
they really suggest we need to talk about cannabis differently,
Yeah,
especially when we're talking about medicine.
absolutely. Yeah. It seems like, I don't know, more people are open to it now
Right.
than they used to be to that medical side, even if they're not,
Exactly.
thrilled about the other stuff.
Yeah, and that's where, good research and regulation are super important. We
Right.
can't just, like, jump into it all willy-nilly, right?
Right.
We need to keep studying it, make sure we really understand what it's doing, the good and the bad.
Right.
And we need, like, clear rules, especially for doctors and patients, so everyone knows what's safe and what's what.
For sure. That makes sense. So I guess to bring this all back to everyone listening, what's, like, the main thing you hope they take away from this whole cannabis cream deep dive?
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing is hope,
Yeah.
For folks dealing with that constant itch, it can really get you down.
Oh, yeah.
But this research, it shows us there might be new treatments out there, ones that actually work.
Yeah. That's huge. And I think it's kind of cool how it came from
Well, no, right?
a plant. Like, who knew?
It just shows you should never underestimate nature, right?
Totally. Well, this has been fascinating. Listeners, what do you think? Hit us up on, the socials. Let's keep this conversation going. And until next time, stay curious, everyone.